Good morning, St. Peter's. Well, over the coming days, we're going to look at the pattern in Revelation. The pattern. We've seen 7 seals of judgment. There's 7 trumpets that's coming up of judgment. There's 7 bowls that's coming up. We're going to see over the next 2 days the pattern in Revelation, which will be helpful. So tomorrow we'll have a look at the pattern in Revelation. But for today, how do you view time? You probably say, well, by looking at a clock or a watch. But how do we think about time? Today, I just want to explore a little bit about this idea of time and how people reading Revelation thousands of years ago would have understood what is meant by Revelation and time. And the reason we need to look at this concept is, if we look at this concept a little bit closer, it'll help us understand the 7 trumpets, the 7 bowls, and the 7 seals, and how that works. So this morning, I've just got the text is chapter 8, Revelation 8, chapter 8, verse 6. And the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared to blow them. And then we see, just like in the 7 seals, we see the first trumpet, the second trumpet, the third trumpet, the fourth trumpet, and then the 5th trumpet. There's a bit of a pause, and then the 6th trumpet, and then a big pause in between the 6th and then the 7th trumpet. There's a pattern here. We had the 6 trumpets, 6 seals, I should say, and then we had this pause. We had the 6 seals, then we had the pause, then we had the 7th seal. Again, in Revelation, we're seeing a pattern. We see 6 trumpets, and we see a pause, and then we see the final 7th trumpet. Why am I pointing that out to you? Because what Revelation's doing, it's not thinking about time in the way we think time. It's showing us a pattern. How do we think about time? We think about time as past, present, and future. And this is related in all of our verb tenses in our language, where we speak of, I was doing this yesterday, today I'm going to the shops, and tomorrow I'm not going to be going to the shops because we're going to be on lockdown, hopefully not. But we think in terms of past, present, future. This is connected to our language and our culture and Western ways. And so we think of time as linearly progressing. As we look at past and we look at present and we look at future. This is all a bit conceptual, but the reason why is because the ancients, thousands of years ago, didn't have this concept of time. You see, their thinking of time is in terms of the cycle. As in, it starts again. It begins and then it starts again. It's not in a linear line. Why do I say all this? Because what they would have picked up as they read Revelation, and what we're meant to pick up as we read Revelation, and what's really helpful for us to understand is, at the end of the 7th seal, that's the end of time. And now we start all over again from the very beginning. And so the 7 trumpets, when the angel picks up the 7 trumpets and the first angel blew his trumpet, we're starting with the same story from the 7 seals being repeated again. And what's going to happen is John, over Revelation, is going to hold up the story of what's happening with regard to God, with regard to his people, with regard to earth, and with regard to judgment and salvation. And he's telling us the same story, but he's giving us different angles each time he retells the story. It's kind of like a diamond that you pick up and you look and you see different facets of the diamond, and at different angles it shines a different light on the story. And so John, throughout Revelation, is going to tell us the same story again and again and again in about 3 or 4 different times, with 3 or 4 different angles on the judgment of God, salvation of God's people, oppression and persecution that they may face, on who God is and what he's done. And so that's how we're meant to see what's actually happening in Revelation. And this clears up a lot of confusion for us as we read through, because we think, I've got to see, the 7 seals is going to happen in the world, because we think in terms of future. That's going to happen. And then the 7 trumpets is going to happen after the 7 seals. And then the 7 bowls is going to happen after the 7 trumpets and the 7 seals, because the 7 bowls is in Revelation 16. That's not how John is talking. That's not what John is talking about. He's showing us a picture, a vision of God, judgment, salvation, things that matter in life, and what he's doing in this world. And he's showing us the picture again and again and again. Tomorrow, we'll have a look at the 7 trumpets, and we'll try and look at this pattern. If you'd like to read between now and then, great encouragement to read chapter 8, 7 up to 9:21. Chapter 8, 7 to 9:21. See you then.